Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another stupendous,
not arousal,
Sip, Riffs, and Flix. I'm your co-host, Kevin.
Hey, and I'm Brandon.
And tonight, we're going to do another off-the-cuff, not planned, none of them are ever planned, but at least we have some sort of idea what we're going to do. But Brandon said, hey, let's do a Flix.
Absolutely.
Which we haven't done, and I don't even remember the last time.
Lord, a month of Sundays.
I don't even remember. It's been a coon's age ever since then. I had no idea. What do you think the last Flix we truly talked about was? I'm going to go with, it had to be a documentary, probably.
Probably The Last Dance with Brandon John.
Might have been.
God, that was in the beginning.
In the beginning. It was early. So, tonight, we're going to talk about the limited series.
On Hulu.
It is on Hulu. Dopesick.
Oof.
So, Brandon has not finished it yet, right?
Correct. I have not finished it.
And I finished it probably 3 months ago.
Every bit of 3.
So, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm pretty fuzzy on all the details, but I can get the gist of it. So, let's review it. Let's talk about Dopesick.
If you have seen Dopesick, but haven't finished it, at some point, Kevin may give it away. I don't know what the spoiler alert is.
To be honest with you, I probably won't because I don't truly remember how it ends.
So here's the thing. Here's the reason that I really want to talk about this before I even finish it. Because as a nurse, working in the hospital and in the emergency department, I can remember certain things that are in this movie, which is really a documentary about how Purdue Pharma introduced MS-Cotton, Oxycontin, to the world. Uh-huh. And I can remember, here's the crazy thing for me when I'm watching this. So a little background story. This movie is about how Oxycontin really changed how we treat pain in America.
Right.
And their goal was actually how they treat pain through the world. Okay?
Right.
And there's certain terminology that they used in this film that, working at the time in the hospital setting, I was very familiar with. Mm-hmm. And so it's almost like when I'm watching each episode, I almost have to pause and just kind of like shake my head like, holy shit, I remember this.
So you contributed to it, is what you're saying?
Not in the emergency department because, well, actually, to be fair, when this was happening, so the movie actually, or not the movie, but the series starts in like mid-late 90s, right?
Yeah. And this is all based true story.
True story, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Michael Keaton, it takes place in, I guess, in like Western Virginia, not West Virginia, but in Virginia.
Right.
And it's a coal mining town, and these are all salt of the earth, hard-working people, right? And Michael Keaton is a family practitioner who basically does everything. He's the orthopedist, he's delivering babies, he's taking care of this and that, right?
And so the sad part of this is, not to cut you off, but just so we're doing background. When we say everything, like this is what you think of when you grow up in small towns of like the doctor who delivered you, like you're sitting and like eating lunch at the table beside him when you're 25 years old, right? Like me with like Dr. Bentley, when I run into him, I'm like, hey, I've known you my whole life. You know, that's the type of guy we're talking about. So like they know all family members, everybody. It's personal.
So they're like interesting. So if you take like the whole map of someone's life, there was like a little puzzle piece, right? Life's a puzzle. Mm-hmm. There was a puzzle piece to where I wanted to go to school and become a nurse practitioner. And I wanted to be like the nurse practitioner in the northern end or somewhere in the rural area of our county, to where I would be the guy that would take care of everybody, this and that. I'd go to eat lunch at, let's just call it the pharmacy. Mm-hmm. And I would see a whole generation of family that I took care of from here and there. And then I realized I ain't that damn smart. So when I say there was a piece of me, it was like for an evening.
I got it.
All right. But at any rate.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, no, which is a good part of that because that comes into the part, it's kind of where I'm
It's super personal.
It's super personal. So, you have this series that starts out in this town, blue collar, broke, hardworking, salt of the earth people, right?
Coal miners.
And you have this pharmaceutical company who, by all intents and purposes at the time, it doesn't appear that they're broke, but they're looking for that big drug that's going to push them over, right?
To take it all over.
Take it all over. To make them the big dogs on the block, essentially.
Right? Because Oxycontin actually...
You gave away. Spoiler alert.
Sorry. You already said it. You already said Oxycontin. You did.
I said MS Cotton.
And then you changed. Maybe you did.
Pipe down, I'm just kidding.
Anyway. It was just like a different variation of something they already had. So, I mean, they were doing well. I mean,
they were doing well.
But like you said, it's the son.
Is it Sangler?
Sackler.
Right, Sackler.
So it's kind of like the son comes up in this, wealthy, big pharma family, right?
Yep.
And it's almost like he has that drive and tenacity, like, wait a minute, we could be bigger than what we are.
But he's also trying to prove himself
to his father. So there's like this personal piece too.
There's this huge
a lot of dynamics.
Thing.
Yes. But you're right. He tries to, like, what can we do to basically solidify ourselves as the big pharma family?
Right. And then, but also, personally, he's trying to do something because he references uncle and he references grandfather, that they couldn't even see this vision that he's trying to create.
Right.
But the thing that really hits home with me about this is I can remember going through nursing school, and I can remember, and if anyone's in healthcare who's watching this, you're going to remember too, when they would tell us that, pain, and the pain scale is the 5th vital sign. No matter what you came in for, you always ask somebody what your pain scale was. And you would show them this chart,
the smiley faces,
1 through 10. And it would be smiley faces. And you would even show that to children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the entire chart was created by Purdue Pharma.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this umbrella company that there kind of was a shell of them, and that's who created it. And then you watch this film series and how they were honestly buying politicians, buying
all the tests that were done.
Well, it's interesting because it even gives you a glimpse into the FDA, because I'm to a part of the film where you can't blame the FDA per se, but they have a special labeling that allows them, that says less than 1% of patients become addicted to this drug. It has a 12-hour time release, right? So you're not going to hit these peaks and valleys like you do with Percocet or Vicodin and stuff like that, which is what people were addicted to at the time. And they use this chart that they're giving to physicians and seminars that the FDA, they say the FDA approved. And I'm to the part now to where the FDA has been, after years, to where the FDA sees the chart and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. We told them they couldn't do that because that is a falsified chart. That marketing is wrong. They can't do that. And then, but they've been doing it for so long anyway.
Right.
And the junkies, unfortunately, have figured out that this, it's an enteric-coated capsule covering, right? They figured out that you can just suck on it for 60 seconds and rub it on your skin, and then you can crush it, you can snort it, or now you can actually shoot it up.
Right.
But I can tell you that for years, as a young nurse in the emergency department, I took care of uncountable Oxycontin overdoses in this county.
Oh, yeah.
And I can remember specific physicians for sure, and we called them the Candyman. because he wrote for that. And if he was following, at the time, the drug rep who was going into their office, I mean, in a way, you can't blame them because they're being fed this, but the sales reps, which is why they have different rules and regulations in place now, to prevent this type of thing. But for me, man, it's just been, it has been not an eye-opening, but it's just the level of corruption that takes place at all levels of not just government, but people that we're supposed to trust.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you even have, like, Michael Keaton, this playing this doctor. I mean, in his mind, he's not doing anything wrong in the beginning.
In the beginning.
He's not doing anything wrong because his sales rep tells him these are less than 1% gets addicted. You know, these are better than Vicodin. These are, so they're like, hey, this new drug is great. Like, you can use it for your pain. You won't get addicted. You know, blah blah blah. Well, and they're also getting like trips to the Bahamas because they sold or they've written so many prescriptions, and you know, I mean, so and then he starts catching on and figures out it's ruining his town. Like, it's ruining his town.
Well, he does catch on, but it's a little too late when he catches on.
See, I don't know how far you are, so I don't know how much I can say. I don't know how far you are.
I am.
Are you? How far are you?
I'm far enough to know that Michael Keaton didn't catch on early enough.
But see, I don't know what that means because it can mean like 4 different things.
Let's just say that. How can I say this not giving it away?
Has Michael Keaton tried it yet? Have you seen?
We're past that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how far you're.
And it's interesting too because even you're going. They use phrases that if you there's no way that anybody listening to this hasn't heard it themselves or had a family member that says something called breakthrough pain.
Yeah.
Right. And so when someone has breakthrough pain, that's a rarity because patients started to experience early on that their pain was coming back between like hours 8 and 9 or 8 and 10 of the 12 hours, and they're like, we've done a study on that. Super rare breakthrough pain. You got to give them more.
Right.
The way to treat breakthrough pain is to give them more pain medicine. Or you up the dose. Oh, no, we've done the studies. Shows it works. Non-addictive. Woo, good to go. And it's interesting, too, how they shoot this because they shoot it in real time and then they go back, right? And then they come back to real time and then they go back. It's very much like The Last Dance, how they shoot it.
Yeah.
The Michael Jordan Bulls documentary. But there is no way in 2022 that anybody listening to this podcast doesn't have a family member or a friend or know someone that has been addicted to pain medication, accidentally overdosed on pain medication, or has passed away from some sort of pain medication.
Yeah.
There's no way. And the DEA agent who basically throws herself into finding,
right.
It's one of those series like it's deep.
It is,
and it's serious, but it is a situation and an epidemic that has wrecked our country. And it's still wrecking our country.
It is. And the crazy part for me is all the testing was skewed, all the data was skewed, all the information was skewed. Everything that happened came from one family.
Yeah.
That did it for money.
Like, they did it for money. Well, they did it for money, but and by the way, the actor, we've talked about this before on the show, Your Honor, that might have been the last show we did.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was.
Yeah, he's
the same guy.
He's the same guy. But they did it for profit. They did it for personal gain for himself and ego.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you that the checks and balances doesn't work.
No.
Right? And also, you've got this guy who was the regulator at the FDA. I can't remember he was an attorney or something, but then he went to go work for them. Yeah, making 5 times what he was at.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, hey, well, this guy's catching on. Let's just hire him.
Right, and that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they were hiring him.
They were. It's a super corrupt family. And they got to the right people and they paid the right people. But I agree with you. It shows how money always wins. I mean, it really does.
It does, but it's also, but it's not just the family that's corrupt.
No,
it's the whole damn system.
It is, but it's all based on money. Like it was, the FDA was.
They were complacent because apparently they didn't even know that they were out here doing all this.
Right.
And then there's these meetings that take place in the series with the FDA. And we're like, well, no, they said, and we stick by it because they said, yes, there's a few people who may be abusing the drug, but millions and millions of people are benefiting who are in real pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy part to me, Kevin, was and this is true because it doesn't matter what you do or what you're diagnosed with. If you go to a physician and you try to ask them for something, or you're trying to present them with a new technology or a new therapy or whatever it may be, everything has to be data-driven. Otherwise, they're not going to buy into it, so to speak.
Right.
Okay? This is how easily everyone's duped. They cited the one study that made physicians go, you're right. They cited one study from 1980 that was 5 sentences long that was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. That was an opinion piece.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And that's the one reference that they would cite to physicians in their office.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
And the physicians would go, well, okay.
Yeah.
No one ever took the time to actually look it up.
Right.
To see that it wasn't a peer-reviewed study.
Yeah, it wasn't a study.
And they got the author of the guy who wrote 5 sentences in front of a grand jury, and he was just like, wait a minute, what?
Wait.
Hey, whoa! This is just my opinion on a double-blind study. And they're like, well, did you know that is what all these drug reps across the country are giving to their doctors, saying, well, it's a study. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no. So, I haven't finished it. And being someone who lived it and seen it and took care of patients who unfortunately didn't make it, you should absolutely always question. Mm-hmm. It's okay to ask a question. Mm-hmm. And if you're ever in the situation to where a doctor makes you feel like, why are you questioning? You need to go get another opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. About anything.
Yeah.
Lab results, medications, whatever. You should always feel comfortable to question your doctor. Because guess what? We're human. We make mistakes.
I was just sitting here thinking about the show, and I was just thinking about the feeling. Like it's a tough watch. Like it's sad because it hits home. Because like you said, I mean, we've seen it here in Statesville.
Well, I mean, listen, have I seen it professionally? Absolutely. Have I seen it wreck people in my inner circle personal life? 100%.
Yep.
And what's crazy is all of that could have been prevented. Yeah. It was all based on a lie.
Right.
It was all based on things that a pharmaceutical company was told, do not use it like that. You can't present information like that. And they did it anyway.
So, these numbers are going to be wrong.
Yep.
But at the end of it, it talks about, like, lawsuits and all this stuff. These numbers are completely wrong, but I'm going to put them out there just because I think I have like the gaps, kind of right to make a point. It was to the point where like this family was paying out like $300 million.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it'll make it right with these people. Like these family, it was like, let's make it right. This family is like happily writing out checks for like $300 million. Like, yes, please take this check and leave us alone. Because they were making billions of dollars.
So it's interesting. I haven't got to that part yet, but in the first 18 months or 2 years, whatever it was $1 billion drug. Billion with a B.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised by that. I mean, there's another great documentary too. It's on, Netflix isn't on there anymore. You can find it on YouTube, and it's called The Devil We Know, which is about the forever chemical called C8, which we also know as called Teflon.
I forgot about that documentary.
You got to watch it.
It is good. I've seen it.
Just so you know,
about it.
I have it in me, you have it in you, and it was by DuPont.
Yeah,
and it was used. It was first used in World War I or World War II with tanks to get mud off of them. And they're like, "Wow, this is a real slippery substance. This can repel water. You can get eggs off your pan." Mm-hmm. And they knew then that it would cause cancers and birth defects. But for like 40 years, they put it in everything that's got Gore-Tex. It's in your cooking equipment. It's in your rain jackets. It's in your Tupperware.
It was like basically they did a study, and it's like they couldn't find anybody that didn't have it.
Like, I promise you, we have it.
Oh yeah,
for
sure.
Like
they couldn't find anybody that didn't have it.
And it was over $1 billion product for all those years, and I think they had to pay a fine of like $1 billion.
It really was. It was like they paid. It was like 1% of what they paid or something.
And not only here's how shitty this was. They were dumping the chemical into like the high river that was funneling down to, and there is a movie about it that has Mark Garofalo. Is that his name? Mark Ruffalo?
It's called Dark Water or something.
Ooh, I think it is called Dark Water. Yeah. And watch that plus the documentary.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when people come out and say, well, the drug company said, you should question it. Or if they come out and go, well, the chemical company said, here's something funny. It actually came up today, right? Because now there's monkeypox or something, right? Yeah. And someone looked at me and goes, well, what we need to do is have everybody stop flying all over the world for a while to stop the spread of everything. Because, coastal around, so spreading. And I looked at him and said, no. Boeing did a study. That filtered air can't catch nothing.
Boeing did a study.
It's
all safe.
Right.
Come on and fly.
R.J. Reynolds did a study. Smoking cigarettes don't cause cancer.
I just recently read that, like, the Marlboro Man, the guy that was known as, like, the Marlboro Man.
Never smoked?
No, from what I read, he died from lung cancer. And, like, on his deathbed told people, like, keep your kids away from cigarettes.
Okay, well, guess what? I don't doubt that. Just like big tech, when you watch, we did a thing about it. The Netflix documentary about social media.
Oh, yeah.
What's it called?
Something network.
Not the social network. It's called...
I can't remember what it was now.
Any rate, all the people who own Google, Facebook, Pinterest, and that, they don't let their kids get on social media.
None of
them.
They're like, we don't even have iPads.
Oh, no. That's to make you depressed and you want to kill yourself. Why would I give that to my kids? You should do it, though. So, anyway, to go back.
So, Dopesick. It's good. Y'all should watch it.
Everyone should watch it because it's something that, number one, it's affected everybody's family. You know somebody. But number two, it's going to give you a glimpse. Just a little peek behind the curtain of what really goes on. But what goes on, but also the lack of...
oversight.
It's the lack of oversight. Like, for example, I told you, don't be eating cookies at night and stuffing them under your bed, Nipsey. But I'm never going to look to see if he's eating cookies and stuffing them under his bed, and now he's got 17 cavities.
Right.
And it's his fault. No, there's supposed to be checks and balances for that shit.
Very true.
That's why you're the FDA.
Yeah. So, yeah, Dopesick on... Is it on Netflix?
It's on Hulu.
I'm sorry. No. It's on Hulu. Go watch it. Michael Keaton.
Phenomenal job.
It is a really good role for him. But yeah, it's good, and it's an eye opener. Talks about like you said, the pain scale. I mean, if you walk into your doctor's office tomorrow, you will see a laminated sheet somewhere in that building that'll have like the smiley face, then the smiley face that the cheeks are a little bit red.
Yeah,
and it's like, where are you on this scale? Like they developed this scale. Like this family developed this scale to help sell their drugs.
Right. And they knew the whole time that it was more addictive than anything that had ever been produced. They knew.
And their answer was
more medicine.
Just give them more medicine.
They literally paid some jackass who was like, oh, wait a minute. You have somebody that has more pain? You're giving them the maximum amount? Well, the only answer is more pain medicine.
And they even developed like higher dosage pills.
Yeah, they went to 160.
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
And when they started getting pushback, they were like, okay, what we'll do is we'll maybe not make them 160. And the one guy was like, we've spent millions on research. Okay. Well, we're going to put some safety margins in place to where if a physician is like concerned that someone's using the narcotic, then they maybe... It was all bullshit.
Yeah.
Total bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I can remember way back when we just started in the emergency department that we could see someone like prescription. Like if you came in with drug seeking tendencies, it had just happened that we could look up to see like your medical, your name, social security number. We could put it in a database and we could see when was the last time that you received a prescription, like a narcotic.
Yeah. Right.
And all that stems from this.
Yep, it does. All right, so Dopesick.
I would walk across the street to watch it again.
I'm gonna actually probably rewatch it because it really is good. But it's sad. It's a tough watch.
Did Maria watch it with you?
She did, and she was the same deal. Like, oh my gosh, I remember being in ER.
Yes,
and she would talk about all of it. She remembered the charts and all that stuff. Yeah.
You know what though? It's a shame because here's the shitty part. To be honest with you, there are legitimate people out there who have chronic pain. They've had surgeries. There's this and there's that, right? And there's people that could benefit from it from certain things. I'm sure.
Right.
But this is a situation to where count thousands, could be hundreds of thousands of people.
Probably.
They were giving this shit for tooth pain.
Right. Yeah.
Tooth pain.
Well, and even in this, they were even using it at one point to try to wean people off heroin.
Well, they were using methadone.
That's right. So, okay, I said that backwards. So, people that were addicted to heroin were starting to use Oxycontin in the place of the heroin because they could get it from their doctor for free, basically.
Yeah, cheap.
Which led them to the methadone clinics, which led to people sitting outside of methadone clinics selling people the Oxycontin.
But then, get this. So then, they started catching on to the pill mill farms, right,
mm-hmm.
and all the pain clinics.
Mm-hmm.
So they put people on methadone,
mm-hmm.
right? So then, you couldn't get your pills, so you could start buying street drug, heroin, for cheaper than you could buy the Oxy because they were charging you $10 per milligram.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's right.
So you could go get black tar heroin.
True, and yeah, that is right.
And shoot up cheaper than you could get a 40 milligram Oxy.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do drugs.
All right, everybody. Dopesick, go watch it. Let us know what you think about it. If you've already watched it, let us know. I don't really know what to say about it. Like,
Public service.
Maybe we all need to do our part, and if we, I don't know, you don't hear much about it anymore. That's the weird part too.
Well, so
I mean, we talk about it. I'm involved with all these different community collaboratives and all these things, and yes, we talk about it all the time about the problems in our county with pills and all that. But I don't feel like it's talked about as much anymore. I don't think it's gotten better, but we're not talking about it as much.
Well, no, I think what you're seeing now is not necessarily oxy, but you're seeing fentanyl.
Yeah.
You're seeing street drug, and you're seeing stuff come across that you think you're getting Percocet, but now it's being laced with, or whatever the drug is,
right?
And it's being substituted with fentanyl. Yep. And that's what we saw last year. I think it was over 60,000. It could have been 100,000 overdoses, and it was due to fentanyl. And they're even, I think, putting fentanyl in heroin.
I think so.
I think they're lacing fentanyl with cocaine.
Yeah, I think it's showing up everywhere now. Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Listen, if you're watching this and you got a drug problem, I don't know. Reach out.
Yeah,
reach out and get some help. Because if you're in the bottom, what you think is the bottom of the barrel, and nobody cares, there is somebody out there who loves you and cares about you.
Yeah.
And
I mean, to be honest with you, you can reach out to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll come get you.
If it's that easy, we'll come get you, and I know the people to take you to for you to see and get help.
Yeah. So,
all right, we're gonna sign off before we get too depressed. So thank y'all for watching. Like, comment, share. Like we always do when we talk about Flix. If there's something that you've watched recently you want to recommend to us, we may be seen it, we maybe haven't, but we'll watch it. We'll talk about it. So, like, comment, share, tell your mama, tell your friends. Brandon, anything else?
No, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. Say no to drugs. All right, see y'all.
See y'all. Bye.